Canadians have saved lives around the world with innovations like the pacemaker, and we've soared into space with the Canadarm. A century ago, this year, Canadian science innovation gave the world insulin, and that culture of innovation remains with pioneering work on stem cells and cancer sharpshooter drugs. We are a nation of innovation. Our workforce is one of the most talented and renowned in the world, including the outstanding students, educators, researchers, and an ecosystem of startups and mature technology players here in Kitchener-Waterloo. The KW region did not need Ottawa to declare it a supercluster. The innovation sprung out of this unique mix of risk-taking, invention, commercialization, and pioneering co-op education. Canada has all the great advantages that should make it the best place on earth to launch an innovative product and grow an innovative business. But far too often, Canada loses some of our best and brightest to places with fewer barriers and more opportunity. Le Canada a tout pour devenir le meilleur endroit au monde pour créer des produits innovateurs et faire croître les entreprises innovatrices. Cependant, trop souvent, le Canada perd ses meilleurs talents pour des endroits où il y a moins d'obstacles et plus de possibilités. Instead of scaling their businesses in Canada and creating jobs here at home, too many promising startups move to the U.S. or sell to foreign investors with deep pockets who can fund their growth. Canada's Conservatives have a plan to strengthen Canada's position as a world leader in technology and end the innovation and brain drain. Canada's recovery plan will clear barriers away, unleash innovation, and create jobs by working with innovators in the private sector to drive innovation. We will incentivize Canadian companies to develop their products here by cutting the income tax rate in half for new patented technologies developed here in Canada. Avec le plan de rétablissement du Canada, on va investir dans l'innovation, abolir les obstacles, créer des emplois et encourager les entreprises à développer leurs produits au Canada. Pour ce faire, on va réduire de moitié le taxe d'impôt pour les nouvelles technologies brevetées conçues au Canada. This will give exciting Canadian technology companies some of the most attractive tax rates in the world to fuel innovation, investment, and jobs. Canada's Conservatives will make it more attractive to invest in small startup technology companies by introducing the use of flow-through shares. Canada became a world leader in mining finance thanks to this model, and we can harness it to reverse the flight of creative entrepreneurs. We all want promising Canadian startups to scale up here in Canada and in the process create thousands of jobs and more Canadian technology unicorns. We will also fix the broken scientific research and experimental development program. Currently, 25% of SR&ED funding goes to consultants instead of to innovators due to the administrative nightmare of navigating the program. This must stop. We will move the administration of this program from the Tax Department to the Innovation, Science and Economic Development Canada, where it belongs. We will simplify the application process and make it easier for software development to qualify. Last but not least, we will review all of the Government of Canada's research and development programs to ensure that Canadian tax dollars benefit Canada and Canadian innovators. We want the jobs, the amazing new technologies, and the profits to stay right here at home and not be sent off to foreign multinationals. Sous un gouvernement conservateur, les emplois, les nouvelles technologies, de même que les profits, vont demeurer au Canada et hors de portée des multinationales étrangères. With these critical changes, Canadian tax dollars will no longer be sent to Huawei and other companies that are foreign state-owned or have direct ties to foreign militaries. Canada's recovery plan will unleash Canadian innovators, secure jobs, and economic growth. We will also establish the Canadian Advanced Research Agency. We will put up an initial investment of $5 billion over the next 5 years to fund major cutting-edge technologies. Our country already has first-mover advantage in important fields such as carbon capture, utilization, and storage, hydrogen fuel, small modular reactors, AI, electric vehicles, and cutting-edge pharmaceutical research that will better prepare Canada for the next health crisis and help us deliver a lower carbon future. Make no mistake, the next great breakthrough, and the one after that, will come from right here in Canada. The world needs more Canadian leadership and more ambitious Canadian innovation. Avec ces mesures, la prochaine grande percée technologique va être canadienne. We will secure the future through exciting Canadian innovation. Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
We'll now take questions at the mic. One question, one follow-up, please.
Hi, Erin. Mark Perry from 570 News. Just to start off with a comment, of course, we got the news this morning on the sentencing for Michael Spavor, who's going to be in jail, unfortunately, for the next decade. I guess you spoke a little bit about the situation yesterday, but if you can maybe just give a follow-up of, obviously, the newest revelations to come out this morning.
All Canadians are thinking of Michael Spavor and his family. This is horrific news, and it's completely unacceptable. The communist regime in China is using one of our citizens as a diplomatic ploy, and it's unacceptable. And we need to stand up clearly and have our allies stand up against this type of conduct by communist China. Canada is a smaller nation in population and economic size, but we're a giant when it comes to our values, and we will stand up. Mr. Trudeau has been offside with respect to China for 6 years. A Conservative government will stand up for our values, our citizens, and our security.
And just in terms of a follow-up, of course, still no election call as of yet, but you have said in the past that an election would be too risky with the prospect of a fourth wave of COVID-19. If that's the case, then why haven't you criticized Alberta, who have actually pretty much dropped all of their COVID restrictions at this point?
Look, I've said repeatedly for several months now, our focus needs to be on the health and well-being of Canadians and on the economic situation. There are thousands of small businesses holding on by a thread. That's why our Canada's Recovery Plan focus on growth. Today, some of the exciting innovation and growth here in the Kitchener-Waterloo region and across the country is what I'm talking about. Mr. Trudeau knows that he should not be calling an election. He's only doing this because he thinks he can advance his own interests. The Prime Minister of Canada should always advance the national interests, the well-being of families, of the small businesses who are worried. We have a plan to secure the future for all Canadians. Mr. Trudeau has no plan, and he's hoping to use the confusion of the summer and the pandemic for his advantage. Canadians are smarter than that.
Erin, Jeff Outhitt from the Record newspaper. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
You mentioned unleashing Canadian innovation here in your speech. I hear from some people in the tech industry here that attracting and retaining talent for the tech industry, particularly in this region, is one of their greatest challenges. Can you highlight to me what your proposals are, your top proposals are from your party, or if you were to form a government, in order to develop and encourage talent that the tech industry needs here in this region to stay here, to come here, and to get the skills they need?
Great question. I'm proud to have been here many times, including when I was a lawyer in the private sector. Unlike Mr. Trudeau, I understand what the challenge is scaling up from the startup stage, from the angel investor stage. We've got incredible emerging technologies here. So how do we retain that talent and allow them to scale up in multiple rounds? What we're announcing today is exciting. A patent box approach where you can actually have some of the most competitive tax rates in the world if your patented technology and your intellectual property stays here. We're going to use flow-through shares, which will accelerate private sector investment to fuel growth. We're also the only party that actually stands up for the use of options, which is a nice way to attract talent. They work hard. Magnet Forensics for here is a 10-year overnight success story. And there are so many companies like that, not just here in Kitchener-Waterloo, but across the country. So this policy I'm announcing today, we've worked with industry. We've worked with the Canadian Council of Innovators. It's exciting, and it will secure the future and unleash a wave of innovation like we've never seen.
Hi, Erin. Colton Weens with CTV. Your announcement today, what kind of business would that have kept in Canada if it was existing, say, 10 years ago?
Well, I think most Canadians will never know the names of the startups that in some cases sell promising technology to major players. In fact, some of the major US players have become large players here, really to, in many ways, tap the incredible young men and women that come out of our universities here, but also to see what's emerging in our ecosystem. We want more Shopifys. We want more magnets. We want to partner with Communitech and other hubs of innovation to allow them to keep profits from their patents, to hire more people, to invest, to grow. What we saw with BlackBerry and Research in Motion, which we've seen with other large players, is an ecosystem sets up around them. Our policies today will unleash private sector investment, fuel growth, keep talent here, reverse the brain drain. We're very excited about it, and this is an epicenter of innovation, and we want to make it, keep it world-class and keep our world-class talent here.
I mean, this area was kind of hit pretty hard with the variant recently. What would your government have done differently if in power?
Mr. Trudeau was slow at the border at the beginning of the pandemic, but there was no excuse for being slow when the variants were coming. We knew certain parts of the world where very concerning variants of concern were circulating. There was still a lax approach at the border. We will never allow that to happen. We will have a deployment of rapid tests that still aren't to the level we'd like to see at all of our places of entry to Canada. And being 4 months behind in vaccinations, I'm really proud of how many Canadians step up to get vaccinated. It's important. But we were 4 months behind where we should have been. Canada's recovery plan, our fourth pillar, securing our capacity, domestic vaccine capacity, and making sure we're never again unprepared for a crisis.
Good morning again, sir. Simon Dingley from CBC National News. One of your Alberta MPs yesterday called mandatory vaccines for public servants, quote, a severe government overreach and a slippery slope. What's your position on mandatory vaccines for federal employees?
I've been very clear. Vaccines are the most critical tool in us fighting COVID-19. We encourage all Canadians to get vaccinated. It's actually why my wife and I took the unusual step of videotaping our own vaccination. That tool, vaccines, will help us turn the page on COVID-19. And I'd like to see everyone take a look at how safe and effective vaccines are for use. Let's all be part of the fight against COVID.
Et la même question en français pour Radio-Canada aussi, s'il vous plaît.
Merci pour la question. Les vaccins sont primordiaux pour notre lutte contre la COVID-19. C'est pourquoi ma femme et moi, on a eu nos vaccins sur les vidéos pour promouvoir les vaccins et le niveau de vaccination. C'est un outil très important pour la pandémie et on doit lutter ensemble contre la COVID-19.
Question, deuxième question. The military has yet to transfer a single sexual misconduct investigation to civil police, despite a report a couple of months ago urging the military to do so. One complainant says the military officially declined her request to ask the RCMP to investigate a rape allegation against senior leader. How do you feel about this?
As a veteran, but more importantly as a father of a teenage girl that I would like to consider following my footsteps into the military, that is completely unacceptable. Mr. Trudeau and his inner circle have covered up sexual misconduct allegations for 3 years. When a woman serving her country comes forward with a complaint, they deserve respect and action. Mr. Trudeau has failed our military and military families. I've called for a freeze on promotions, an independent investigation, and there needs to be criminal ramifications for people that have abused the trust.
Puis-je voir la même réponse en français, s'il vous plaît?
On doit avoir une approche claire contre l'inconduite sexuelle dans nos forces armées canadiennes. C'est très important pour moi, comme un ancien combattant moi-même, mais aussi comme un père de famille. Et c'est pourquoi, il y a 5 mois, j'ai proposé un gel pour les promotions des générales et une enquête indépendante sur les allégations d'inconduite sexuelle. C'était totalement inacceptable de voir un camouflage par M. Trudeau et son équipe.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.